You're watching Wid's Anime Cast.
Konnichiwa, and welcome to Wid's Anime. And now let's catch up on what I've been watching, starting off with Glasslip Episode 2. Well, I said I would give it another try. Didn't have to see the first episode. Not so much happens in this episode either. It's going to be a relationship anime. The problem is that I don't really care much about these characters. The writers haven't made me care about them. It's very slow moving in its pacing. It's pretty enough, but that's not enough to carry a series. And I'm not learning anything about glass blowing. I don't think I'll be coming back to this one. I think this series is going to go the way of If Her Flag Breaks, in that it doesn't know what it wants to be when it grows up. Why don't they just do a slice of life romantic dramedy? But they have to throw in the ESP stuff. This is only going to confuse the audience and the characters. Unlike Black Butler, Book of Circus, Episode 1. Wow, I have been waiting for this series. I love the manga and the first season. I am going to love this season, or this series. Why? Because he's one hell of a butler. Watching this episode was like sitting down with an old friend you haven't seen for a while. The only thing that was missing is what happens to the villain at the end of the episode. He's the guy who tried to kill Seal and Sebastian. In the manga, he ended up in an oven before it was turned on. In the anime, they kind of left that out. It's too bad. That was one of my favorite that was one of my more favorite side stories in the series. But never mind. The gang is back, and this time they're going to go to the circus. That's Noah's Ark Circus. I really enjoyed it when I read it, and now I get to watch it. Oh boy! And then I moved on to Majimoji, Rurumo, Episode 1. Where to start with this one? For one thing, the artwork is quite different in an enjoyable way, a little primitive. And the comedy is very slapstick. I'm going to enjoy the heck out of this series. Our hero is a real perv. Not only is he a perv, well, our hero is a real perv. No, really, he is a perv. He's been a perv since elementary school. Now he's in high school and he's known as the king of Pervs. He is also a member of the occult club at school. Because of that, he summoned a witch. The wish was granted to become a man by getting a pair of panties, since a cute girlfriend was out of the question. As a wish was granted, he loses his life. That should be the end of the story, but it isn't. The witch, Rurumo, takes pity on him and gives him only a half-bird funeral. This causes her to be demoted to a witch in training. He gets a booklet of magic tickets, 666 in all. She must complete the task of getting him, Shibaki, to use up the 666 magic tickets before she can become a witch again. However, Shibaki learns from Rurumo's cat that as he uses the tickets, his lifespan shortens. The really funny aspect of the show is how pervy Shibaki is, though at his core, of course, he's a nice guy. I will be watching this one each week. I need a good, no-brainer, silly comedy in my life, and this one just might fill the bill. Then we go on to Argevollen, Episode 2, Awakening. In this episode, Toki Muni learns how to operate the mecha. He has to visualize what he wants to do. I'm really enjoying the artwork in this one. The other notable aspect of this series is that there aren't a lot of kids running around. In fact, I don't see any kids or teenagers here. Oh, of course, I guess you could say Toki Muni might be called a teenager, but I believe he is older than 16. This is what I like about the series. We have adults, youngish and older, running the show. No, it can only be, no, none of the, it can only be a 14-year-old who can pilot the mecha for this group. I think there is some intelligent thought behind this series. I hope they can keep up the excellence for 24 episodes. Now, when I say excellence, I'm sure there's going to be some naysayers out there who complain that it's just another mecha show. Yes, it is just another mecha show, but how you approach it is what makes or breaks a series. I think this one might be on the right track. Only time will tell if I'm right or if my heart is broken by promises not kept. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. And I also watch Illya to We, episode 1. With this one, I'm at a disadvantage. I have not read the manga that it's based on. After seeing the first episode, it doesn't look like a series I would like. Rumor has it that it is an action comedy with fantasy and magic added. It is supposed to be a spin-off from the Fate Stay Night series. There are various characters from the Fate Stay Night and its sequels that appear. This is also a second season for this title. So I have no idea who anyone is. I haven't seen much of the Fate Stay Night animation series. But what I have seen is much better than this show. It's a magical girl genre. While I am okay with that, I've seen it done better. A show that is a second season or a spin-off of another season, if it's any good, will grab me. This one is not. The artwork is below average, and there is nothing here to make me want to see more or even look up the source material. I think I've seen the one and only episode of this series. And I might say the same thing for Jinsei, episode 1. The genre lists this series as the following: a comedy drama, Ichi romance, school, and slice of life. I think they have all their bases covered with this one. The problem I have with this one is that it is way too talky. The science girl keeps talking and talking and talking and talking and saying nothing. There is nothing even remotely funny about this series. I thought for a few brief seconds there was something funny going on, but then the writers went and killed it before it spread. If I understood Japanese, I still don't think I would watch this series. Even our daughter disliked it, and she likes anything with cute girls in it. I sat through it, and I want my 24 minutes back. And I'm kind of would say the same thing for Momo Kyun Sword, episode 1. This is a reimagining of the famous character in Japanese folklore, Momotaro. Momoko is a beautiful young sword fighter who was born inside a peach. Let me tell you, she has quite a set of peaches on her. The point of the series is that a collection of fragments of a sacred jewel, it seems that the demons want these fragments so they can power up. Stop me if you've heard this storyline before. I know I have. In fact, it is one of my favorite anime/mangas of all time, Inuyasha. As dated as the series is, 1996 to 2008, it is still far better than this series. The only thing this series has going for it is her peaches. The artwork is so bad, it's not good. I don't plan to watch any more of this series. I thought with her cohorts, the monkey, the dog, and the pheasant gods, that it might be fun. But the bad artwork really killed it for me. She'll have to fight those demons without me. And I think the same thing can be said for the Battle of Sekigahara, with Sengoku, Basara, Judge, End, Episode 1. This is an anime based on the Capcom's 2010 game Sengoku Basara 3. It will depict the epic battle of Sekigahara. I would have loved to love this series It has all the historical characters plus the epic battle of Sekigahara. I have read quite a bit about this time period in Japanese history. It was so thrilling to recognize all the names and know who and where and what they did. Now, I'll admit that they don't look historically accurate, but it's based on a video game after all. I wouldn't get to see, it's based on a video game after all. I won't get to see the battle though. The artwork is horrible. I think the music is even worse. Do all the characters have to scream all their lines? I really feel sorry for the voice actors in this one. They must have had a really hard time on this one with their characters. The fighting sequences are based on what happens in the game, and as I am not a gamer, I can only guess at this. Castlevania does a much better job in the music department. I wish they would animate that game. I guess this part of Japanese history is better read than watched, or at least not in this series. I was looking forward to this one. I thought it would have some elements I would really enjoy: historical figures, battles, hunky, gorgeous guys. Well, it had the historical figures at least.